Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spiritism at Noon. We are currently studying the book Empty Lives by the Spirit Joanna de Angelis, written, psychographed by Divaldo Franco. And we are in chapter 16 already, out of 30 chapters that we have in this book. And I would like to remind you that each chapter is a different subject. So in case you have missed the others, don't worry, you just can access at our YouTube channel and you can catch up. But each chapter brings a different topic, analyzing this main topic that is empty lives. And today, more especially than the other lessons that we were studying, it's important for us to be reminded of the title of this book. And because Joanna de Angelis is going to bring or to invite us to a reflection on what we are doing with our lives and how we can really understand when she talks about empty lives. So I'm going to share here the screen with you so we can follow the lesson. Okay, so as always, I start reading and we stop and we make a pause for comments and questions. So let's start. Mediumship with tears. In the whirlwind of modern culture, with its countless achievements and the lower passions overflowing unchecked, human existence is assailed by the most varied manifestations of the sentiments and reason. Almost generically, individuals agonize for lacking the equilibrium necessary for health behavior, manipulated by polarizing news resulting from the base interests of the multipliers of opinion. The multiple immediate requirements for developing the intellect and the sentiments impose challenging personal struggles for acquiring the resources needed for one's survival. In addition to this imposition, well-woven advertising regarding success and happiness with standards that do not match reality promote flights of ambitions, imagination, and false concepts concerning beauty and pleasure that sweep away the senseless multitudes, throwing them into turbulent competitions and unjustifiable longings. Okay, let's stop here because it's it's enough for us to talk about it. So I thought it was so interesting because she starts this chapter, and we will see half of the chapter she doesn't even mention mediumship. So as always, her way of conducting us to reflection is to bring about what is wrong, to awaken us to how we are behaving in relation to what is happening towards us, and whether this behavior is a good behavior or not, or it doesn't come just out of, impact and influenced by what is going on around. So she says that in this kind of modern culture that we live, we are overflowed with all things, and many of them related to the satisfying of our wings, of our passions, of our material needs. And we are constantly bombarded by appeals that will make us feel that we are not enough, that if we do not act a certain way, if we do not consume certain items, we are not living in accordance to our times. And actually, all of this nourishes, come to, to give rise even more to what we already have. Just yesterday, I was watching a documentary about Socrates, and I knew already about his way of being, his detachment from material things. But there is one passage in his life that is quite interesting, when they say that he would like to go to the market where all, the merchandise merchandise where, and people, trading and this and that, and he would look around. They say, oh, look how many things I do not need. And he and in the documentary, they would say he took very good care of himself. He loved to live. He loved. He laughed. He drank. He ate, but he was completely detached from the idea of possessions and being influenced by things that would make us take more care of our exterior, our appearance, than actually taking care of what is necessary, which is look at oneself. I may be dressed as a queen, but I may not be as beautiful and pretty with the dresses of and all the ornaments of a queen if my soul is not a good soul. So this is what, in other words, Joanna de Angelis is talking to us here about how much we are bombarded with those unnecessary needs, and they are many times distractions. And this is why, the empty lives, because we try to fulfill a hole that will not be fulfilled with negativity or materiality. Any questions or comments so far? No. Okay, let's read a little more then.
Well, it's pretty interesting, and I really see what she's talking about. I had a perfectly nice TV in my bedroom, excellent, but I decided I needed a bigger one. So Amazon was having a really fantastic sale on Insignia TVs. So I was able to buy a 50-inch for $199. And I also had some reward money. So I actually paid $177. And it's giving me great pleasure. I love it. It's got wonderful features. The sharpness is beyond belief. But the point is, did I really need to do that when I already had something that worked well? No, I didn't. It's that materiality thing coming into play. Got to have something bigger and better when you really don't need it.
I mean, this can be an example, but In this particular example, I don't know. I mean, it's not that you were, buying one TV for each room and, splurging because, oh my God, they have a sale, so I have to buy four. Okay, you just walk it with the technology, and like you said, now it brings much better image for you. It hurts your eyes less. It fulfills you, so I wouldn't go as far as saying that this would be an unjustified upgrade. Okay, we have to upgrade from bodies. Why can't we upgrade our TV? And from what you're telling me, it's been some years since you had a new TV. So, but I think that I mean, in any case, it can illustrate something that we are talking about. Another point is many times we substitute the old thing for a new thing, and we keep the old thing without thinking that maybe that could be useful to somebody else that cannot afford even a good price like you said. So and so we amass, and we keep on holding everything with us. So this is another perspective, I think, that we can think about. Yes.
Well, the good thing was that the set that I, the TV I had, I sold it to my neighbor across the street because she had a little dinky TV, and it wasn't working for her. She wasn't happy, but she couldn't afford to do anything else. Mm-hmm. So I sold it to her for $25, and she is loving it. She thinks it's perfect and wonderful. And I'm saying to myself, you're right. I really didn't need this upgrade at all. However, I do like it. But the point is, was it really necessary? No, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes. If we think about that, and if we go to Socrates again, we can think, well, you mean, while it's still working, that's what he would do with his garments, okay? While it's still working, I'm wearing the same one. And so, yeah, we can think about it, but I think it certainly is a very good example for us to think about things and how we go about things and purchasing and all of that. Yes. Okay, let's say here, continue. Instant gratification is promoted at any price, as if the sole objective of physical life were the deceitful glories of illusion and social prominence. On the one hand, there are the offers to achieve the varied proposals dictated by the fast fashion business and latest craze that attract the unwary to enjoy the moment. On the other hand, there are the mechanisms of bribery and indignity that serve as skillful tools within the reach of the most audacious among the classes without the means to consume. Nevertheless, one's future is determined by acts committed in the past, which form the basis for one's evolutionary agenda. Nothing is lost over the course of one's many lifetimes, during which one accumulates lived experiences as well as rectifying needs. So again, she continues talking about how, without realizing, we get involved by all this. And of course, this is much deeper than just here. We are not just talking about this need that we have of, going for new things, of, following the trends. And this is why I think she points out in terms of empty lives. We use these resources to mask what our really needs are. And we know that many times people that go into a rampage of, those kind of behaviors, be it consuming, be it, drinking, eating excessively, and other things that they can do, some can afford more than others, many times is to mask our needs. So I don't want to look at it. So I'll get distracted to the point that I do not have time to think about myself. And the thing is, why don't we want to face them? Our real needs, because unconsciously we know that it will require change of behavior. It's work to be done. And we are accommodating. We are not so sure if we wanted to go through this transition and do the work that we need to do. So let me be distracted. Let buy a new toy, and while this new toy is being nice to me, I'm happy. I don't think about my real needs until it comes about again, and then I'll go and buy a new toy, or I go and take a vacation, or I go and do any other thing that can in a certain way make me think that the hole that exists in my soul is being filled, but it's not. Because new things get old as well, right? It comes to a time that it will no longer bring to us the same excitement. And but one thing that she says here, all of this urges and way of belonging as well, because sometimes we follow all this because we wanted to feel that we belong. It has to do with our history, with our past, with what we are. In fact, sometimes we think that we are much more evolved than 2,000 years ago. Yes, in terms of material progress, we are so much better. But in terms of the soul, not necessarily. There were progress, of course. We are always progressing, but it's very slow. And if the opportunity arises, we may see us behaving like barbarians. And we will say, oh, from what this behavior came from us. But we were not paying attention to it. We were not really aiming to reformulating, our needs and actually renew our souls. Any questions or comments? This is a tough lesson today, I think. It's a very tough lesson. And you see, she hasn't touched about mediumship yet, right? And I think we are going to be doing that. I don't know if we will have time, because this is a long chapter to do everything today. So reincarnation provides the blessed treasures for redeeming the consequences of wrong behavior, tracing out the lines of moral recovery for those who are implicated in the law of progress. The facilitating or problematic situations for the spirit's evolution are courses in which everyone is enrolled. In the area of spiritual behavior, mediumship is a valuable instrument of moral recovery and illuminated ascension. So what she's saying here, that thanks to reincarnation, we do not stay in the lower stages of the spirit life. We will be having opportunities, and of course it doesn't need to be just in a different life. In the same life, we will be having constantly opportunities to redeem ourselves, to learn more, to go through experiences, pondering, why am I going through this experience? And not just complaining or even accommodating. There is a lesson to be learned. Even if it's just, let's say, in case of an illness, is the time that we need to stop things and start, rebooting, right? Getting through ourselves again and having a time of a bit more of rest to reflect about things. So sometimes what we need is the time to reconsider our role in life, and everything has a name to lead us to progress. It's never with the intent of making us suffer. On the contrary, the intent here is to lead us not to suffer anymore. Oh, I'm going through this difficult situation. I know it's the result of what I did in the past or in this present life, but I am in control. I don't like it. So I have to make the effort not to do it again, not to keep on doing the same mistakes. And it's interesting, like she says here, because constantly we compare our physical existence as coming, to school, right? And each reincarnation represents one grade. For some people is one grade, for others maybe 2 or 3, according to how we are really taking advantage of the reincarnation. But it's like going to school. We will be learning things. We will be experiencing things according to our possibilities. So even when we think that the burden is too much, never anything is going to be given to us, the experience or the adversity that we are not capable of handling. It's like, a first grade teacher will not give to a first grade student of a fourth grade subject, because the child still has to go through a process. So it's the same thing with us. We are here in courses. So we have enrolled to the course of life, from going from one stage to the other. And of course, when we do that, when time for reincarnation comes, we are going to be offered tools that are going to be helping us to achieve our goals. Okay, you are a child that is more inclined to lie.
Sarah, you're frozen.
Yep. Where'd you go?
I've in the audience, I don't know. Am
I
I back?
think we lost you. Oh, no, she's back. Okay, sorry.
All right. Yeah, sometimes, the internet plays with us. So I was saying that a child may have more inclination for life outdoor, want to deal with plants and flowers and nature. Others may be more inclinated for the, doing experiments in a lab, even if we are talking about a child. So it's the same thing. They say, well, if you're going to for an outdoor life, you need to be, everything, a shovel and seeds to plant. If you're going in a life in a lab, you will need different instruments. So one instrument that can be provided to us in terms of being a tool for our involvement, for us to grow, is exactly mediumship. So mediumship, because it requires us for a correct exercise of our faculties to kind of discipline ourselves, a more constant contact with life beyond. Any questions or comments so far? Okay. So yesterday's ignoble acts, which generate indescribable spirit obsessions, also appear in the unfolding of the often distressing and disturbing faculties for mediumistic exchange. People used to believe, and many still do, that such obsessions are a form of divine punishment, as if God's justice, according to the human way of seeing things, were constituted of cruel penalties. It turns out that the need to evolve is imperative, and that individuals, whether offenders or benefactors, have no other means than this imposed on them by their own conduct. Thus, it is due to one's spiritual past that one reaps the fruits in the present to bolster one's existence. Consequently, all mediumistic development and education occurs with the help of purifying tears. What is she talking about here? She's talking about us, as immortal spirits, having contact or exchanges with the spirit world, whether we are, mediums or not, whether we are aware of this or not. And one of the things that may happen in this process is what we call a spirit attachment or spirit obsessions, when, those that felt harmed by us will come for, revenge, and want us to pay our debts in relation to them. And many times they do this to even mask their pains. And many people will say, why? Because we are always questioning God, right? We are always questioning the wisdom of God. Why does God allow that spirits of lower order come to us and impact our lives? It's an education process. It was not God that placed them next to us. It is us, it is our guilty that connects us to them. So you remember that phrase, the criminal always return to the place of the crime. It's in our mind, and so it is easy for us to connect with those that we have harmed in the past. And in a way, because of the restraints that we feel by their presence, we are obliged to change our ways. And evolvement will happen not only for us, but also for this spirit. And again, just remembering that God has nothing to do with that. It is the consequences of our actions. So sometimes, like it says here, and is the title of our studies, mediumship development, so all our possibility of communing with the spirit realm will come first in terms of readjusting ourselves, making amendments in relation to our past, and will bring some pain, but it's more related to what we did, to the errors we have committed, to how we have harmed others. And so now it gives us the possibility of saying, of pondering about our misbehaviors, of taking the resolution to follow in a different direction. And when we do that, the spirits that once were more in tune with us because of this guilt, because of our ways, now they will see us changing, and little by little, very much like ourselves, they will change as well. And if they don't, this is when there is God's intervention, because then I will no longer have guilty. I'll have it clear in my mind, the error, the consequences of my error, the efforts that I'm doing to make amends. So there is it's no longer necessary for me to keep in the same mental outlook that I was before. Questions, comments? Okay, so I'm going to continue. If you are a bearer of mediumistic sensitivity, take care to educate your own sentiments, storing up patience and compassion, so that love may be carved into the folds of your soul. Mediumship is a divine concession for humanity's spiritual growth, a vehicle of communication with our discarnate brothers and sisters. It offers lessons about the laws of justice and God's love. Through mediumship, one gains the unshakable certainty of the continuation of the being after the phenomenon of death, enabling one to surrender to the moral laws that govern the universe. Based on charity, it has the healing function of holding certain incarnate or discarnate patients in its energy field, often causing malaise, sadness, or pain, depending on the state of the host in need of help. At other times, evolved spirits who are not happy about their current stage of affairs attack mediums out of envy, resentment, or rebelliousness, causing them incidents of suffering that are useful and beneficial for their personal growth and the acquisition of fraternal values. Such mediums' trials and expiations also occur simultaneously, giving the impression that the burden of their responsibilities and personal desires are very weighty, producing an imbalance of the nervous system's anxiety, fear. However, as a means of purification, there is nothing that can be shouldered with tranquility and trust in God. So it's so interesting the way that it seemed that we completely changed chapters, right? I mean, at first, it seems that it didn't fit, with mediumship with tears, and now she takes a different turn. It's a turn where she assessing the way we still conduct ourselves, the way we try to distract, and the way somehow we are compromising even more ourselves when we're just paying attention to the material life. Now, with the possibility of having this exchange, and many of us already having knowledge of, the existence of spirits. After all, the majority of religions in the world, the majority of people in the world believe in the mortality of the soul. So we don't know exactly what happens after, whether there is a reincarnation or not. not, whether they can communicate or not, but we as the majority of population do believe that there is continuation, that the spirit is immortal. In our case, as a spiritist, we know this to be a fact, and we know that spirits can and will be, according to their state of evolution, still be more interested in the affairs of earthly life. Those are the spirits. They are earthbound, as normally we hear them being referred to. In this case, like she says here, we have to maintain calm, our patience, with the certainty that we are not abandoned by the Creator, that this is let's say, one trial, one experience that we will go through, but with a name to bring us positive results. Of course, in the process, we will not only perhaps feel physical imbalances, but mental ones as well. But again, like she says, we have to look at that as a means of purification. And just as I was saying that, an image came to my mind, in older times, where you would have, like, a kind of bathtub on the garden, right? Difficulty to have running water, and would fill that from a well. And then the children would come from, playing outside and in the dirt all the time. And you have to put them in this bathtub, and you have to scrub everything. And they complain, right? Oh my God, it's hurting me. They were having a good time before. They were not thinking about the process of cleaning themselves and how necessary this was in order for them not to become ill. So this is what is happening to us, right? We have to go through this process of purification, of cleansing, and not necessarily, some of, the required scrub for us to achieve this state of purity is not going to provoke some pain, but it's for my own good. I don't want to keep those stains. I don't want to keep this dirty in my soul. So what can I do? What kind of spiritual shower or bath can I take in order to, go through that? And of course, the more I rebel, the longer it will take for the mother to scrub, and the chance for you to be hurt is even greater than if I calmly accept that this is part of a necessary cleansing, and trusting that at the end, it's for my own good. And here, when she says this means of purification, we will be helping, it will help us to have the tranquility and trust in God. Any question or comment? Yeah, it's a lot to reflect. Okay. When used appropriately, mediumship becomes a symbolic Jacob's ladder, which reaches toward the infinite. However, when misunderstood or used for futile, selfish, prideful, or unworthy ends, the stage is set for terrible disputes by perverse minds and those devoted to evil, who take pleasure in causing affliction and inciting moral corruption. For this and other reasons, mediumship's educational pedagogy finds in the gospel of Jesus the disciplines proper for use in any situation, resulting in a blessing of incomparable magnitude that provides plenitude. In referring to mediumship, Allan Kardec states that it must be exercised in a Christian-like manner, in conformance with how Jesus lived it as God, lived it as God's medium. ponder your mediumistic faculties and take care to keep them from being controlled by bad spirits, attuning them whenever possible to the good and acts of charity. Transform the tears of some suffering which result from mediumship in its natural exercise into shining stars that light up the night of souls in despair, illuminating yourself in the process, and serve without ceasing, remembering that you are a medium at all times, not just at the time set aside for specialized sessions. So here she says, because we have been, as a summary, because we have been involved in so many distractions and following the into sometimes this rampage of what modern society requires for us that necessarily are working in our benefit. By reincarnation, many of us have required the ability of being mediums, of working, being practitioners of mediumship. Always remembering that according to what we have in the medium's book, everyone is a medium. Everyone has the possibility of attuning to spirit, even when you do not have the possibility of participating in a mediumship meeting per se. But here again is when, with a good thing, we can transform this into a negative thing. Because like we said at the beginning, the idea and how she refers to Kardec here in exercising mediumship in a Christian-like manner, it means with moral, with ethics, with the aim to help others and assist others in their needs, in clarifying about life after beyond death, about giving solace to those that have lost their loved ones and will have their pain appeased by knowing that this is just a transition, that they will meet again. And so this is the way of practicing mediumship, and not for selfish purposes. So now we are going to be trading with low order spirits for information that can bring us more of the earthly power and none of the spiritual evolvement that we are looking for. So this process, why it is painful? Why mediumship well worked is painful? It's because it's going to bring us any kind of pain, physical pain or moral pain. No, it is because it's going to require us to tame our beasts. And this is why it's painful. It's not with the spirits that we are going to be dealing, even if we are talking about this obsession sessions where we converse with spirits that are so stuck in their evilness. But it is because it requires discipline. It requires a change of our behaviors. It requires us to be paying more attention in our moral, ethical process. This is why it comes from it's so difficult, blood, sweat, and tears, because it is my process. It's not because it's bringing me unhappiness. On the contrary, the more I give into this process, the more we feel fulfilled, because we see that we are making a difference and using this possibility in our day-to-day lives to attune with his spirits and bring out enlightenment and comfort to others. Any question or comment? So the last paragraph, whenever you may be, with whoever you may be, whatever you may do, always be an intermediary of the greater world, removing the barriers that hinder a better assimilation of the vibrations of divine love within everyone's reach. Let's give an example here. A friend asks you to talk to him or her, whether you be in their homes or they're being in your home or over the phone, and you know that this friend is in need. So for an instant, we can stop our current thoughts and attune with the higher forces, with the benefactor saying, make me an instrument of your peace. Make me an instrument of bringing comfort to this person, that I may be inspired in our conversation to say the right words, to touch his or her soul, and to contribute for the bettering this difficult moment that the person is going through. So this is why she says we are always serving, and whether we are ostensible mediums or not, mediums we all are, connecting with spirits we all can, but it depends on us to connect with those that can help us in our resolutions and assist us in bringing more help to others. Any comments or questions?
Sarah, I have some, I can say something here.
Mhm.
I'm listening to this beautiful, beautiful message that Joanna de Angelis is explaining to us. And what I see in this and that, I'm part of our mediumship group that I have attended for many years. And my heart goes out to those that are in the spirit world that are suffering, just as we are. But what most interests me is that throughout these years, I have found that I have to do the best that I can to better myself, because you see what's going on in the spirit world, and you have to understand that they're suffering because of what they could have done and didn't know how to do, whatever. But as a person that's there, seeing the suffering that goes on, I surely don't want my family nor myself or anyone that I care for go through so much pain and suffering. So mediumship helps me in my life to do the best that I can, to become the best that I can. And whenever anything happens, I'm looking at it differently now. It's not like before when I didn't was part of the mediumship. It's totally different now. You look at life differently. And this is, I think, what mediumship means to me. Yes, I know that there are spirits that are so much in pain and suffering, but I am so glad that I'm there, that if I can send a prayer and help and assist them in their pain and do what I can, it inspires me. But for me to see myself as a spiritual being here in this spirit, in this physical life, I have a lot of work to do. I'm not even half there yet, but I know what's the best way to work and better ourselves. Joanna de Angelis explains it so beautiful here. All that we can do, not so much as being a medium, but being the helper that's there, and learn and give all I can to those that I love and help myself in this life before my turn comes to go to the spiritual world. So mediumship is so important for all aspects of life, here and in the spirit world. And I hope that one day everyone that's here might be participating one day in a mediumship group and learn from that.
I think that the last statement in the chapter sums it up perfectly.
Mm.
Be careful about what you think,
Mhm.
say, and do, because they are the very vehicles for your inner transformation and your well-being.
Yes. Yes, perfect, Philip. And thank you, Sarai, that you brought something very important as well, because I was thinking while you were talking that we also have the spirits that surround us. And for sure, we have with us companions that feel that they were hurt by us in the past. So even if it's not a physical friend or relative that is in need and requiring our assistance, this spirit also requires our assistance. So this is why it should be a habit for us as well to pray for them, for their enlightenment as well, for forgiveness, for them to give themselves the opportunity of growing, of no longer being led by grudge and anger. And so that could be a moment of our day where it would help us a lot and also help them to find their ways.
Yes.
Okay, anyone else would like to say anything?